The Northgate Connector project, which is the entrance to the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. A little bit of a project overview. It was a design build by Northgate Constructors, which is a joint venture between Kiewit and Zachary Construction. Kiewit is based in Irving, and Zachary is based in San Antonio, Texas. Both are known nationally as premier heavy highway and heavy construction contractors. The project is an 8.4 mile expansion of the Texas Highway 114, Texas Highway 121, and the Interstate 635, which is the loop that goes around the Dallas part of the Metroplex. At this interchange is at the north entrance of the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. As you can see from this map, how extensive the project is. This is a revised map of how the construction is going to be finalized. There are two toll lanes going each direction, both east and west, on the 114-121 section. A little bit more about the project. At its widest point, it'll be 24 lanes wide, and this is at the Texas 114 and Texas 121 merge. It had a start date of February of 2010, and it reached substantial completion November 2013, with an overall budget of $1.02 billion. And it also incorporated managed toll lanes to fund the maintenance of the entire project. Cost factors, the three most notable ones were cost control, optimization's impact on project cost, and incentives. As far as cost control, it was a design-build contract combined with a comprehensive development agreement, which allowed the contractor to maintain the budgets and have more of an autonomous decision in making cost decisions and scheduling and that kind of decisions that would need to be made typically by an owner. And I'll discuss the comprehensive development agreement a little bit later. For optimization, it directly ties in with the optimization's impact on the schedule, because lane closures were a necessary part of the project. The costs associated with the lane closures during peak hours could be financially burdensome to the project, and in order to do that, they had to schedule appropriately. And incentives, they were provided for early completion, which I'll discuss more with the schedule factors. Some of the main schedule factors that I noticed while researching the project were the timeline requirements, optimization impact on the project schedule, and the availability of the site. TxDOT set an original completion date of summer of 2014 for substantial completion, and the project finished up about 7 months ahead of schedule, which ties back in with their incentives. They received 7 months of benefits for completing early. The optimization's impact on the project schedule, just like with the cost, the lane closures were the major impact. Work needed to be done and completed within the scheduled times in order to reduce the amount of lane closures, because at a certain point, typically at night when most of the work was being done on certain lanes, they had to be reopened by the morning rush hour. Without doing that, without completing the work within that time frame, they would have to wait, and it would delay the project even further. And that ties in directly with the availability of the site. There was a limited access to the site during certain times of day, such as rush hour, and the contractor needed to limit risk to workers and to the commuters by closing certain areas of the site down in order to perform major tasks such as large picks for uh, bridge beams, concrete bridge beams, and that kind of thing, and to move heavy equipment from one point on the site to the other. Technical factors. The key ones here were the delivery method, and it ties in directly with contract formation and also safety and health. With the delivery method and contract formation, as I mentioned earlier, it was a design build contract that was set up also as a comprehensive development agreement. And what this agreement set up was that the Northgate constructors, the contractors on the project, would be responsible for developing, designing, constructing, and maintaining the project for the foreseeable future. That's why they entered into a joint venture in order to be able to handle this entire scope of their work. And TxDOT uses this type of agreement in order to accelerate the design and construction of projects and to reduce the cost. As far as safety and health goes, safety and commuters for the workers and the commuters was very important throughout the project. There were no major incidents, but they did set up a proactive measure and community involvement to promote safety in the work zones by drivers. And they did that by offering high school and college students scholarships for safe driving habits and promoting that. Context factors were public, maintaining capacity, and sustainability. Public and the maintaining capacity tie in very closely together because this is a very busy interchange at the main entrance of probably one of the busiest airports in the country. There are many businesses in the DFW Metroplex that need the airport there, and business people travel in and out on a daily basis, some for very short periods of time. This can create a lot of congestion, and throughout the project, Northgate constructors needed to minimize lane closures in order to keep commute times down for all those involved in needing to go through the project site. Sustainability. On the project, they utilized reclaimed concrete as an aggregate in the new pavement, and they had an on-site recycling/batch plant to reduce transport times for the concrete and for the reclaimed aggregate. Financing factors. The funding from state and federal ties in directly with the legislative process. As you can see, $696 million from public gas taxes, $261 million in federal funds as a part of the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, and $127 million in Proposition 14 bonds used for right-of-way acquisitions made up the entire budget for the project. In order to receive the funds from the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, they needed to get approval from the congressional panel that was set up during the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. And then revenue generation, as I mentioned earlier, there were toll-managed lanes that provided funding for the operations and maintenance of the entire project. As you can see here from my complexity max, it skewed more towards the context and less towards the technical and financing because those were pretty straightforward. And thank you very much for listening to my project.